Thank you so much. And now we move on to discussion, which will be covered by Naveen and Chengappa.
Yeah. Can I share my screen, Dr. Latika?
Sure.
Hi, everyone. We are probably at the most important part of the manuscript. Since we have done all these things, the methods, the results, it is relatively easier. It's not easy still. It's relatively easier to write, but discussion needs a bit of creativity. And I think we should be a little sensible and humble about our results. So going forward, I'll just revise on what uh, Professor Vikas Agarwal had told us in the last class about writing a discussion. So we have to see what does the study mean, and we have to communicate what the study means to others. Now, others, we are not talking to lay people. We are specifically targeting certain group of audience. So we have to be clear about whom we are going to address this study to. So it is first of all it has to we should be able to communicate what this study means to us as authors, then to the readers, and to the overall scientific community in terms of the future perspectives. So what we have to do in a discussion is we have to base all the discussion on the based on the findings of the particular study, and then we highlight the important aspects of the study. Then we try to bring out the new aspects that was not described or not correctly described across other studies, and then finally conclude. It's as simple as these four things. But to do that, what we have to do is we have to imagine a discussion, writing a discussion like starting off this workshop. So first we introduced each other's, and we introduced each other's topic. Then we put out the results, like if all of you just pointed out that this was the error, this was the error, this was the error, and these constitute our results. Finally, we discuss why these are the errors, right? So this is the important part, that why is this result important for the study or for the subject as whole. So now in discussion, we don't go back to introduction. We don't talk about who is again presenting this and why was this done, but we keep cycling between the results and discussion. So based on your result, we discuss. Based on the discussion, we can go on to the next part of the result. So keeping this in mind, so what we do is, first of all, we have to give statement of principal findings in the discussion. Then we discuss about the strength and weakness in relation to other studies. Then we discuss what is the meaning of my study. Finally, the strength and weakness of this study. This has to be honest, and this has to be rational. It's important that we put out our weakness rather than somebody point out. And if there are a lot of weaknesses that are pointed out by the reviewer, there's a higher chance that your manuscript is going to be rejected. And then finally, just state what are the unanswered questions and what is the avenue for further research based on your study. So opening paragraph should address the goals and hypothesis, how your results have addressed. So give a brief summary of the results, not detailed summary. And then you interpret your results in the context of previous knowledge. So first state the answer that you got and state the relevant result as a summary, and then cite from the articles across the world. Then defend your answers. If you have found something different, try to defend it rationally. But while doing so, make sure that you present both the sides of the explanation. There could be contradictory evidence, there could be evidence that support your study. So you have to discuss both and then come to a conclusion stating why you have come to a conclusion. Finally, discuss and evaluate the conflicting explanations of the results. So always address the audience. Don't forget whom you're addressing to, and discuss the unexplained and unexpected data. You have to highlight if you have found some unexpected data, but don't go in length discussing on that. again discuss the limitation and strength of the study, finally come to a recommendation or a proposal for a further study. You should first, while writing a discussion, we have to remember that this is not a review article. We don't have to quote all the 100 articles talking about this particular subject or particular result, and we have to be brief and not elaborate while doing a discussion. Do not waste time restating all the results again. Some might really be irrelevant. Do not introduce new results. This is very important. Sometimes what happens is, while writing the discussion, you would have thought of some other way of analyzing your data, and instead of mentioning it in the results first, you will directly put it out in the discussion that when we did maybe a logistic regression, we found this and that. So that should not come as a surprise to the reader. It should have been first discussed in the results, and only then should be discussed here in the discussion part. And do not overinterpret the results. Most of the times, if your study is underpowered to tell something, don't say that it is definitely the case. We have to be a little conservative, and we have to once we write the discussion, we have to reread it and remove all the unnecessary words, some adjectives, adverbs, whatever is unnecessary.
Chengappa,
Yes.
sorry to bother you.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, it's Vinod. See, Dr. Vikas had given a very detailed lecture. Can we just look at the manuscript and sort of, we just, yeah. Okay, let's discuss the manuscript, please.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't got time. We have to finish this off, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Naveen can take ahead with the manuscript and its.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the manuscript, and please discuss, whatever you have found. Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'll be discussing the discussion part. What I found is the results are not summarized in the first paragraph. Usually, the first paragraph summarizes the primary objectives, the results which we have got. Then a lot of results are stated as such in the discussion. Then usual approach is specific to a general approach which is followed in discussion is not seen here. Certain historic details are stated as such here, like 2004 to 2011 chikungunya epidemic alone has affected 1.4 to 6.5. These are not needed even in the introduction part first. So the structured discussion is not seen. And
Naveen,
some words.
Sorry, like, are you sharing some screen or something? Yeah. Okay, please. Thank you.
Yes, so I'm sharing screen.
Yeah.
Is it viewable, sir?
Yeah. Now it is.
Now you are visible.
Yeah. Now you're right. Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The first paragraph doesn't have the summary of the results, as I've stated. A lot of statements are given, which can be given in the introduction part, and specific to general approach is not followed. Conclusively proved the chikungunya arthritis statement. Such statements needn't be stated here, in a little exaggeration. Then the mean age of study patients in the combination group versus the monotherapy stated here, which can be stated in the results because they are not different as such. They needn't be stated in the discussion part. The discussion part, I found a lot of results are as such written here. Rather than that, better will be the interpretation of the results and how is it different from other cohorts would be more meaningful. Here the figure reference 1 is given here, but this figure will be pertaining to the results part rather than the discussion part. They've stated only one limitation here, but few other limitations are discussed in the prior paragraphs, which can be clubbed together. Strengths and limitation can come as a second paragraph together. There are a lot of extra paragraphs which can be brought in briefly. Then here, about future directions and research needs can be included as a pre-final paragraph. In the final paragraph, they have concluded that based on our results, all patients with chikungunya arthritis should receive DMARDs irrespective of duration of illness. But the study group is the patients who had chronic chikungunya arthritis are the ones who are studied. So you cannot apply this results to all the patients with chikungunya arthritis. And to state that all should receive DMARDs irrespective of the duration is not per se part of the study. And we urge the government and authorities to take steps to control mosquito-borne infection illness as a general statement. It is not pertaining to the study. That's all. So the structure of the discussion can be reformatted and it can be a lot more reduced and words can be reduced as such. And the primary objective, secondary objectives are not discussed clearly in the discussion part. And I have a rubric. Whether the discussion addresses the goals, hypothesis in opening paragraph, no. Interpretation of results in the context of previous knowledge, it is weak. Interpretation does not consider all aspects presented in the introduction or the methods. Whether it addresses the primary audience, it is present, but its implications are not well explained. The secondary audience, per se, it doesn't address. Does it discuss unexplained data? No. Does it discuss limitations of study? Yes, it discusses, but it's not put together in a paragraph. It is placed in 2-3 places differently. The recommendations are present, but it is at times poorly expressed. Patients are chronic chikungunya arthritis patients, not all chikungunya arthritis patients. And conclusions, closing is present, but it is poorly expressed, or weakly expressed. A score of 13 is given out of 30. Thank you.
Thanks, Naveen. Chengappa, your comments?
Yeah, thank you, Naveen. We have got a few more comments from Dr. Supriya and Dr. Sunita. So most of these comments were addressed by Dr. Naveen, but overinflating of results, that has translated to actually exaggerated claims in the conclusion, like it has to be given to all the patients and things like this. So that has to be avoided. Otherwise, I think I have nothing more to add for this.
Thank you, Chengappa and Naveen.